So, man, it's huge. We've heard the rumblings. DeAndre Hopkins didn't want to be in Arizona anymore. We even heard him come out yesterday and say that he wants to be on a team where, basically kind of bashing some of the teams he's been on in the past and his quarterbacks without saying it. Saying it without saying it. So now we have him as a free agent. He's still a top 10 receiver in the game, without a
Yep.
doubt. Arguable top five receiver in the game right now, depending on who you're talking to. Um, what do you think are good landing spots for DeAndre Hopkins, and where do you ultimately feel like he might end up?
There are several landing spots for D Hop that I think that would be advantageous to his skill set, and what he's looking to accomplish, which is ultimately win a championship. I wholeheartedly believe that him landing in Baltimore on the outside with Odell Beckham, you got Andrews, you got Lamar Jackson just signed the big contract. Lamar, congrats, you deserve every single penny of that contract. And I can just see him in Baltimore. And he has that personality as well to fit within the Baltimore culture. I'm really big on culture when you talk about players and plugging them systems. And I strongly believe that D Hop is a good plug-in player in Baltimore, and he can step in easily over 1,000 receiving yards. And you still got Odell coming back off that knee injury, so he's still not 100% in my opinion. I would have to see him out on the field, getting tackled, getting back up, seeing how he cuts and such, for me to be able to say Odell is 100%. But with D Hop is pretty much for the most part always available. His catch radius is insane. His route running is very decent, and he still can accelerate. We're talking about the guy that ended D'Angelo Hall's career on the Baltimore Ravens, right there in that DC area where Hall ended his career at. So, nonetheless, I can go on the soapbox about this, but D Hop, in my opinion, the perfect landing spot for him is Baltimore.
That's a great analysis, and that is a great call out. It's different from what we've been hearing in the media. I think it's been thrown around that he could go to Kansas City, he could go to Buffalo, possibly to Dallas. I think all of those teams would benefit from having him on the roster. Those teams are already competitive mode, and I think adding one of the best receivers in the game only improves their chances. Out of those teams, I think the one that makes the most sense is probably Kansas City. They don't really have um, a guy like DeAndre Hopkins today. They've had Tyreek Hill, they've had McCole Hartman. Those guys are moved on. I think at this point, if they were to get a guy like DeAndre Hopkins and you pair him with Travis Kelsey, the rest of the AFC would be in trouble. However, I don't think that he'll end up in Kansas City. For some reason, I got a feeling that he ends up in Dallas. I can just see him with the star on his helmet, see him being there with Jerry Jones. And I think if you give Dak Prescott a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, you've also got Brandon Cooks, you've also got CeeDee Lamb. All of a sudden, this Cowboys offense is just at another level. And nobody in the NFC today has an offense that would be as explosive as that offense. So I think the Cowboys stand to gain the most from adding him to their team. He played in Houston for many years. I think they stand to gain the most. South Carolina kid, if I'm not mistaken. So coming back to the Carolinas would be dope. I just don't see it in the cards. But I think the Cowboys stand to gain the most. Let's see if they can find a way to bring him into the roster. If so, man, we could be looking at a long year with Cowboys fans and a potential Cowboys Super Bowl win.